quizzes to your students. For example, in response to a question or topic inquiry, students write down 3 different summaries, 10 to 15 words long, 30 to 50 words long, and 75 to 100 words long. Or another example of formative evaluation strategies is the 3 to 1 countdown exercise. Give your student cards to write on, or they can respond orally. Students have to respond to 3 separate statements, 3 things didn't know before, 2 things that surprise you about this topic, and 1 thing you want to start doing with what you've learned. So those are the example of strategies, distinction between formative and evaluation, and this is the example of formative evaluation. Another one is summative evaluation. So the best example for summative evaluation strategies to teachers that are given to students is when they ask a final project or papers, this string, benchmark, and score used for accountability for schools and students. Next is relationship. Formative evaluation is used as basis for summative evaluation. Summative evaluation gathers results of past formative tests as guides in preparing summative tests. So the relationship between formative and summative evaluation distinction are both in the classroom and externally. Teachers are both responsible for assessment that requires them to report on student progress to people outside their own classroom. Another explanation between the distinction of formative and summative evaluation are formative assessment is an ongoing, flexible, and more informal diagnostic tool, while the summative assessment is, as the word implies, an evaluation of the sum product of the lesson. Summative assessment are more formal, structured, and often used to normalize performance so they can be measured and compared. So the last distinction between formative and summative evaluation is the function. Function is formative evaluation helps teachers in preparing lesson plan and goal setting. Summative evaluation helps school managers in decision making. Both assessment can have a formative and summative function. An assessment with a summative function decides whether a student has acquired the learning objectives to an adequate level. An assessment with a formative function aims to equip the students and the lecturer with insight into the student progress and to serve up an opportunity to give direction or further development. For example of formative assessment. Formative assessment is when you give the student feedback on his or her progress and indicates what the student still needs to do or to reach the end of goal. As a lecturer, you can use this method to direct a student learning process. In essence, each assessment with a summative function also have a formative function to provide the student with information regarding his or her stage of development at the moment of assessment. While the summative assessment is the appraisal of a summative assessment is usually expressed as a number on a scale of 1 to 10. When the mark is considered adequate, the student will be awarded credits or receives diploma. Therefore, this appraisal will have specific consequences. For example, it will give student access to a program or course or permit the students to graduate. So another topic is measuring attitudes. Attitude is defined as the sum total of an individual's manners, feelings, thoughts, mindset, opinion, view, position, way of thinking, and outlook to a specific topic. We all know that we have a differences each individual in terms of manners and personality. With this, we will measure or identify the attitude of individual in classroom. In the classroom, the teacher's attitudes affects teachings and students. The teacher's attitudes influence both their expectation for their student and their behavior towards them. So for example, if you're a teacher that have attitude like aggressive or strict teacher, the the student will be afraid to you or will be scared because the way you approach to them. So the attitude that you show to them will reflect to them because that is the way you teach. For example, we will identify if the student had a feeling or opinion about the topic that discussed to them. We will measure that student is actually active in terms of academic because he or she has an opinion about the lesson. Here's some suggestion in measuring attitudes. The suggestion in measuring attitudes are as follows. Number 1. Attitude statement must be agreeable or disagreeable. For instance, punctuality must be rewarded as incentives. In number 1, for example, the students listen to your topic discussion or lesson discussion. So it means the students are focused to you and they are excited or willing to listen about the topic you given to them. So it means punctuality must be rewarded as incentives to them. Number 2, attitude items must be stated in present tense or future tense rather than past tense. Present tense is preferred to state attitude item to determine the present realities and its effects in the future. So first and foremost, attitude must be the first important things over everything. We all know that it's easier to train aptitude than attitude. For example, when people have the right attitude, they are motivated and adaptable, which makes them more open to learning new skills. With the right attitude and enough effort, most new skills can be mastered quickly. So success is accomplished through attitude. Yes, your attitude towards everything in life will determine your greatness of achievements. Every person has power in this world. We define power only by means of money and influence. But power is more than that. That is what we call attitude. Number 3. Brief and concise attitude item is preferable rather than long statement. Example of this is when you ask your student to answer that question and your student answer the question with long statement but far away from the topic that you given, unless the other student give the answer with brief and concise answer based on the given topic, and that attitude makes sense. Number 4, simple and understandable statements are preferred rather than ambiguous statements. Yes, exactly. Simple and understandable statement are preferred rather than long statement but far in the question or the topic, because simple and understandable statement are good attitude, because students or teacher will be easily get what they mean or what they're talking about. That performance will measure the attitude of both students, that although the one student had an opinion, or she or he had an opinion but out of topic, rather than the one student had a simple and understandable, which is the student will understand easily, or the teacher will understand easily what they are talking about. Number 5. Only one complete attitude item is stated in every attitude statement. For instance, poor item. A good student is prayerful and studious. Good item. A good student is prayerful. A good student is studious. So on this item, we will determine the good and the poor attitude because of the statement that they have. And also, we will determine or identify the good attitudes when the statement is good. For example, a good student is prayerful. A good student is studious. So it means the student are knowledgeable or can understand what the teacher is talking about, or what they are giving about a specific topic. Number 6. Double negative and ambiguous statements must be avoided in stating attitude items. When you're answering the question or the essay, you must avoid the double negative statements, which means unclear or inexact statement, so that the readers or the listener will be not confused of what do you mean or what are you talking about. Number 8. Specific determiners like all, always, none, never, not, nothing, and no must be avoided. So, if you answer a question, be specific of your answer, and do not use or avoid using like all, always, none, nothing, or no, so that the readers or the listeners, to prove it that you answer correctly, or you have the guts or the feeling strong of your answer. Number 8. Qualitative terms such as few, many, great, frequent, and large must be avoided. So in measuring attitudes, few, many, frequent, etc. must be avoided because it measured by the quality of something rather than its quantity. Number 9. The items are carefully constructed within the language level of the students. For example, in kindergarten, their medium of language is Bisaya. So the level of language that they are going to use is Bisaya, so that they will understand, or they easily or carefully understand about the given instruction of the teachers. Number 10. Determines like may, usually, and some must be avoided. So determiners must be avoided in measuring attitudes. It's because you're referring to another and you're not focusing on what you are talking about. You must be focused of what the topic you given, what you have received, and you must be focused on it. So that is the end of my topic, and that will be all. Thank you. I am Dasir Elvalinas, and thank you for listening.